It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant pride.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live right here on Giants.com and the Giants mobile app. I am John Schmeelk. Happy to be back with my guy, Jonathan Casillas.
Yes, sir.
Merry Christmas, my friend. How was your holiday?
It was good. It was good. Yeah, it's good to be back here, though. It's good to be back after a win.
Did the daughter have a good Christmas?
Yeah, she did.
Good.
She's playing varsity basketball and playing very well.
She's a freshman, right?
She is a freshman.
Ooh.
Yeah, little JV, little
All
varsity.
right.
So she's playing good. You know, they got the Christmas tournament, holiday tournament. So every day she's JV one day, varsity. So varsity today and varsity yesterday. So, yeah, man.
That's exciting. Good
Yeah,
for her, man. That's
sure.
great. Giants with the win. I don't want to kind of do a full review of the game again. We did that yesterday. But certainly give me your take on what you saw, what you liked, what you didn't like, and kind of go from there.
Finally, they put together a complimentary football game, offense, defense, and special teams. Banks, I'm happy for him. You know, I think he's had his fair share of criticism the last couple of years, and to see him, you know, score a touchdown and how everybody was so excited for him to do that, and the locker room celebration and all of that, man. And, you know, it sucks that it comes this late in the year because we finally saw, you know, Abdul Carter playing at a high level, Dexter Lawrence playing like we've known him to play for the last 7-8 years. How long has Dexter been here? 7 years? 7 years? 6 years? Maybe gave him a year or two. But his whole career, Brian Burns added a couple sacks. Dane Belton, his consistent play this season, special teams, his ability to take the ball away, he showcased that. He's had over 100 tackles on the year, Schmeelk, for Dane Belton as a reserve / type of safety. He's having, I think, a good year, contributing very well on special teams.
You're right, 7th year for Dexter.
Contributor on special teams, possibly Pro Bowler. Is a Pro Bowl, what's it called? Alternative?
Yep.
Pro Bowl alternative? Alternate?
Yes.
Alternate?
Alternate.
Yeah, so happy to walk into the building today and you feel the good energy from a win, you know, and Schmeelk, being on this side of it, it's so crazy that for years and years and years, I've been out the league 8 years, and for the first 7 years of it, I never even considered of, you know, throwing the season to get a number 1 draft pick, right? I finally started to understand it the last 2 years. But what the Raiders did, I'm so glad the Giants, you know what I mean, didn't take that approach. You know, where you have a player.
Feels dirty, doesn't it?
It does.
It feels dirty.
You got your own player saying, I don't care about draft picks and leaving the building. You know what I mean? Max Crosby.
And then playing basketball and putting a video up.
Yeah, it's just, that's not okay. And that's the thing. As a player, the coaches, like, nobody cares about what's coming after the year because no one is guaranteed a job, no matter how the team does. Whether you're winning Super Bowls or, you know, you're picking top 5 in the draft, there's not going to be the same team next year. So everybody has to play good ball. And I'm glad that Giants finally put a complimentary, all 3 level win together. And yes, it was late in the season. And yes, they might have messed up the number 1 draft pick. But I'm sure no one in that locker room cares about that.
No, and look, I'll get to the draft pick stuff in a second. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. What have you liked about the way they've let me put it more broadly to you. Why do you think Abdul Carter's had the very effective last 4 weeks that he's had since that bye?
It sounds like he's being held accountable, you know, and I don't know if that was a thing before, you know, and you saw me and Kafka just talking just now, and that's one thing I congratulated him on in getting Abdul Carter to play like Abdul Carter should be playing, you know, and it wasn't that it was a master trick or, you know, it was Kafka, you know, bringing the best out of him. It was just holding somebody accountable who didn't understand what it is to be a pro, and no rookies understand what it is to be a pro, and they have to learn. So was happy, and I commended him on that, you know, his ability to get Abdul Carter to play like we all expected him to play, and he has been playing phenomenal football. He had a great game on Sunday as well against the Raiders. got to get him a little bit more discipline. I think
enough with these offsides penalties, bro.
Calling back big plays, and again, hopefully, he can keep it up in practice, and those practice habits, they translate over to the game, so hopefully he can control that because he's a playmaker. And it was just good to see the defense flying around. I felt like I haven't really seen that a lot this year. They were flying around, coming downhill, people helping, other guys. It was a violent game, physical game, which I love, and it was initiated by the Giants. And look, whatever the Raiders were choosing to do, I know it wasn't the players trying to choose that, but the Giants were better than them, and they finally showed this is what you do to a team that you're better than. Right, you embarrass them. You make them look bad.
And that's what I said. Look, you went into this game, the Giants, especially with who the Raiders were resting, were clearly the more talented team.
Yeah.
The better football team. And they just went out and they showed it.
They showed it. That's it. Yep. And it wasn't the prettiest, right? Dart falling down a couple times. But he played well.
But it's funny, JC, I was told only turf fields are bad and grass fields are all perfect.
No. You get hurt on both, you slip on both. It is what it is.
Everyone was slipping and sliding on that turf.
Yeah.
How many times did Geno Smith fall down just trying to hand the ball off?
And that's not okay. It's for your home team to be falling at home, right, on your grass field. Something's wrong with that. I don't think that's okay.
It looked like a European field.
Yeah, is that what it was?
I don't know if that's what it was, but didn't look like the grass was really. It looked like a fairway or a green, where it just looked really low and
was it soft?
It looked like it wasn't like the grass. It just was sliding out. It wasn't like the roots weren't deep. Look, I'm not like some landscaper or anything. I don't know about that stuff, but that's what it felt like to me watching it.
Yeah, it was a little sloppy, but we got to see the full arsenal of Jackson Dart's capabilities, right? We got to see him as a passer, right? They went empty a couple times, and he got the ball out of his hands to the right person right away. Wan'Dale Robinson got involved, and of course he went over 1,000 yards, had another phenomenal game, and I think he cemented himself as a playmaker for sure in this league, and as one of the top slot receivers in this league. He's playing phenomenal football. He's having his best year, playing outside, inside, whatever it is, catching third down passes, critical situations. He's catching those passes, making big plays, down the field, short pass. He's doing everything that you want from a slot receiver, and I'm really happy to see that for him.
I want to go back to Carter for 1 second.
Yeah.
How do you think about how they're using him? Not as much, but he's on the edge a ton, but a lot more standing up, or even with his hand in the dirt, above guards and centers, and I think they've done a good job making sure when he does rush against those guys, it's not crowded in there where,
Some space.
If you get double teamed inside, you're toast. You can't win there if you're small. But they've got him one-on-ones in those spots, and he's done a nice job with it.
He is, when he's off the ball in front of that center, he's almost unblockable.
He's too quick.
When he come downhill, he has like a 1 or 2 yard head start, and he has almost like a running head start towards the center. They have no chance. He's so sudden. He's so quick and explosive at the start of the play. They don't have a chance. And I like how they're using him. I like when they do Burns, him, and Dexter on the same side, and they're trying to work basically like a 3-man type of game situation. They're almost unblockable when you do that.
I love that Burns looper play where he was completely untouched. You can't block that.
He's unreal. Burns is unreal. I mean, he's relentless. Every pass rush move works for him. Speed to power, the rip, the inside move, the spin move. Not like Abdul's. Abdul's spin move is insane.
Abdul, and look, and here's the
crazy.
thing. As good as Carter's been, he's not a one-trick pony because he wins with a quick inside move, speed outside, he has the spin, but it is mostly finesse that he wins with. I think we need to see that, whether it's length or power, bull rush, speed to power. You can't just win with speed and quicks. Eventually, guys will, especially good offensive tackles, they're just going to sit back in their stance and wait for you, and it's not going to work.
Right.
So that, I think, is the next step for him, develop that other part of his game a little bit.
But that's good that we're talking about that because we saw so many things from him that we're picking apart the good parts of his game and saying he needs to add to it because these left tackles, right tackles, centers, guards, whatever, they study film, they watch all of the best pass rush moves from all of the pass rushers in the league, and they're going to have an answer eventually. But that with growth, with time, with time on task, with him doing the extra film studying in the morning, all of that stuff, he will learn to do that. He'll have a counter move to his go-to moves. He'll have the speed to power because he has speed. So if you have speed, all you got to do is just say, okay, I'm just going to power you, because if they're expecting speed, and he will do that eventually, I think.
And that's what makes Mike, and I've talked to Jermaine Illuminor about that, and he said that's what makes Micah Parsons so tough to block.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great athlete, and he's quick and he's fast. He goes, he's so powerful, where if you try to just set yourself up for speed, he's going to put that arm in your chest, and he's just going to march you back to the quarterback.
Yep.
So that's the next step for Abdul Carter that I'll be excited to see. I think he has the frame to develop that type of power. We'll see. But that, to me, is the next step for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And the discipline part, but that comes too,
Look, to young guys,
players are undisciplined, right?
And discipline.
That's
Those
it.
are the two
That's
things
it.
that you have to develop.
That's
No,
it.
absolutely.
And they'll come. They will come.
I think it'll come too. What do you think of Dart? The way I talked about it yesterday, I thought just the Raiders gave him a lot of easy stuff.
Yeah.
He took a lot of easy stuff. He didn't have to throw it down the field much because the game never demanded he do it. He didn't have to throw the ball into the coverage much because the game didn't demand that he had to do that. He just hit open guys 5 and 6 yards down the field and marched a team up and down. I thought he did a good job playing a very disciplined football game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was one of his better games this season that we see him play. Like I said, a couple of times they got into an empty situation formation where he got the ball out of his hands right away.
Yep.
Meaning he understood what the defense was presenting him, and he knew the targets that were going to be available to him. Because when you have,
Look, I mean, how many of those quick hitches to Wandell on that in the curl area that he throw in that game?
and I think he's such an underrated passer, because everybody's been focusing in on him taking the hits, meaning him as a runner, that people, they don't give him his credit for a passer. Schmeelk, he's a very accurate passer of the football. Like, he throws the ball, I think, accurately.
Especially in the short to medium range.
Which is where you need to be at, because if not, then that's an interception. So I think he's a very accurate passer. I think we saw his full arsenal of skill set on display. There was a time where he dropped back into a passing with a pass, and he scrambled immediately because he saw the coverage that presented itself. Nobody was open, and he took off running. And then on the touchdown, that's where you need to be tough and you need to be physical. He did that, but he also covered himself up and took the blow. I've been seeing before, and people have been getting him scrutiny, of course, all the stuff that we've been hearing. And I heard Tiki say this too. It's not about him taking hits, is that he doesn't really know how to take the hits. And now, and
Tiki's huge on that. He's huge on that.
I heard Paul ask him after the game.
How happy did Jackson Dart sound when he answered that
He was
question?
so happy. But, Paul gave him a great setup. Got to, say, you're doing a good job first. Paul's the best at that. He gives you the good, feel-good questions to make you say, I want to answer this question by this guy. But I liked Jackson's response.
He was like, thank you, sir. That's so kind of you, sir.
It was. And I liked Jackson's response because he said that I'm learning. And I'm like, thank you. That's all I needed to hear. Because I feel like he's been so against people asking him about it.
Right.
And it's like, they're going to keep asking you about it until you start learning and changing your ways. And he has an advantage, which I don't think he truly understands. When you play the quarterback position, no one looks down on you for sliding. People don't understand. You can slide at any position.
Right.
But the only position that it's okay to do that is quarterback. Nobody else slides. The receivers get down because they don't want to get hit. But even that, like, you got to pick and choose. And I feel like his response afterwards, saying I'm learning and he's going to do these things moving forward, that's what I wanted to see, because I feel like he was a little hard-headed in some of his responses throughout the year and how he's been playing.
Early on in the season, I think that's probably true.
And
I agree with that.
The thing is with rookies, like we keep saying, with Abdul, with him, with Scatterable, with Neighbors last year, these guys are young and they have to learn. And he's learning on the job, and he's taking some hits. Hopefully he doesn't take those moving forward. But I like his progression, not only as a quarterback, but as a young man in the NFL.
I'm with you. Oh, we got a good question from YouTube here. Good job getting this up, Johnny Mac. I think this is good for JC. Here's a question for you from @HooksRub. What type of qualities would be best in a linebacker coach to get the most out of their players? Should they be more of a rah-rah guy that's aggressive, or someone that's more calm and calculated?
I think it takes a good combination of both, because the linebacker position, especially on this level in the league, you're the quarterback of the defense. So you have to have a level of intelligence to not only communicate to your players, communicate to, the middle linebacker, who I feel like Bobby's a very intelligent person. My middle linebacker when I got to the league was Vilma, and everybody raved on how intelligent he was. But it also goes to the coach, because when you're going against a Peyton Manning, when you're going against, some of these top tier quarterbacks, you get into a chess match some of these games, and it comes down to, are my linebackers educated enough to go against this brainiac of a quarterback?
When the quarterback makes a call and he makes an audible, do you know what that audible is?
Sometimes.
Do you know how you have to adjust to that? Well, no, but that's the thing.
Yeah,
you have the
right.
linebackers that
That's
can
it.
do that.
Yeah, that's it. But that's given to by the coordinator, by the linebacker coach. But then also your linebackers need to be physical. So both having the intelligence and the physical part of it, just like a middle linebacker, like a typical middle linebacker, that's what you want your coach to be. You want him to have a little bit of an edge, but you also want him to be intelligent to go ahead and right after a play, tell a linebacker what happens, tell him what he needs to do, to assess what happens, and then move forward. You gotta move on so fast from these plays throughout a game. Like we watch it because we're watching TV, right? I'm watching the game at home or I'm watching the game, at the stadium on the screen, trying to watch both. And we get to talk about plays for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour after.
Yep.
These players, they're not talking about the play that happened. They're on to the next play. And that takes, I think, a level of intelligence that you have to have and possess.
No, I'm with you. All right, one other question from YouTube. I want to get to these before I forget and I get to your calls. I see you guys on the line. We'll get to you in a second. Don't you worry. How would you rate the defense, JC, under Charlie Bowen compared to Shane Bowen? We could talk about effectiveness and style if you like. I would just, and I said this on yesterday's show, and I'll say it again, somebody put up a tweet up the other day where they were showing how much better the numbers are since Bowen's taken over. And my response to that would be, you guys faced the Raiders this week. Last week you took on the Vikings, where only J.J. McCarthy played for a half. Mm-hmm. And then you had the third-string quarterback for the second half of that game, Max Brosmer. Week before that, you had the backup quarterback of the Washington Commanders. All right, so let's understand the quality of the opponents here. Like, that's not playing the Lions, the Packers, the Bears. Like, different. Very, very different. So let's keep that in mind. But with that caveat, I throw it to you, sir.
I fully agree with you because it's about who you're playing. You're playing a team that averages 500 yards a game and you hold them to 250. Okay, that's different. But that's not the case. But for me, they look different. They do look different. They look like they're flying around more than I've seen them throughout the year. I think when you look at Sunday's game, I watched it again this morning, and I see guys flying to the football. It wasn't perfect.
Bobby's been doing it. And there's a lot of penetration on the defensive line.
A lot on the defensive line. Guys are downhill. There's not a lot of waiting on tackles. They're being aggressive. I think Lane had a good game. Him playing defense for, I don't know if this is the first time him playing this year, but I think he had a good game playing that safety position, coming down here for Tyler Nubin. And you know what? I pay attention to what you guys say, and I listen to the interviews and stuff. And what I've been hearing from the defensive guys saying how much they're motivated by Bullen and, his energy that he's bringing. I think they're feeling that. And I think that was something that Shane Bowen, it just wasn't part of his personality. And I think the Giants defensive guys, I think they're just reacting to it a little bit better, I think. And they're responding to it a little bit better. Because, Schmeelk, teams that are trending down like the Giants were for 9 straight weeks, they usually don't pull themselves out of it late in the year. Especially when you're missing your defensive coordinator, you're missing your head coach, you're missing another defensive coach. You're looking at the Raiders. The Raiders are what teams usually do when you're spiraling.
Right.
You don't really get it together.
Usually once the toilet starts flushing,
it's
the water goes down the drain.
That's it. And to see them responding defensively and offensively, I think that says a lot to the character of the guys in the room.
Yeah, and I think you look at the Vikings that way, right? You look at the Dolphins that way this year. How about the Saints, who started the year really poorly? You look at some of these teams, they might start poorly. You thought, this is not working out. This is not good. The teams that are able to pull themselves out of it, even the Falcons, they had a nice little win last night against the Rams.
Look at
they played really hard.
The 49ers was like, no one was talking about them in the beginning of the season. Now they're the best team in the NFC right now. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I'm with you. And I think that's something you take a look at and, you're happy. And then, unfortunately, there's going to be some changes when we get to the offseason. Mike Kafka will certainly be in the mix when the Giants decide who their head coach is going to be. But odds are not everyone's going to be back. So
and that's
to see what happens.
That's the worst part about a year like this. The record is not great, and you lose some guys, not having scatterable neighbors for the year. Like, that all sucks. But when the season's done, win, lose, or however the season went, it's not going to be the same team next year. And then the head coach getting fired, defensive coordinator, that means there's going to be a lot of change. You know, that's why I was last show when we talked, I was like, I'm just nervous because I'm thinking a big piece of the Giants might be gone. He's not the only one, though. You know, like, who knows?
Well,
I was talking
I know.
to Mike Adams and Usama Young just now, and I talked to Kafka. I talked to all those guys. Just, you know, talking to them and stuff. I know all of those guys from either playing with them, playing against them, or whatever the case is. And, you know, I'm just like, nobody knows anything for what's going to happen next year. And that sucks,
And
man.
look, and that's the thing. Like, I was talking to Bob Papa. He was eating lunch today, and we were just chatting. We were just, you know, talking. And, you know, and I understand the fan perspective. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I'm not telling you not to think this way. But I know some people get frustrated when they call up and they say, oh, you got to fire this guy. You got to fire this guy. Let this guy go. And I'm sitting there in the cafeteria today looking around, and I'm looking at these assistant coaches that, by the way, a lot of these guys don't make a ton of money.
Yeah.
You look at coaching assistants. You look at scouting assistants, right? These guys are, some of young families don't make a ton of money. You know, they lose their job. They have to move their whole family.
Yep.
They have to go find a new job. You know, guys that we've grown to know and build a relationship over 4 years, one day they're here, the next day, gone.
That's it.
It sucks.
It sucks.
So that's why when people call and they're like, John, why don't you just say it? The guy should lose his job. That's why.
Yeah.
You know,
these are human beings, man.
like, and again, when you and you guys don't have the personal relationship with the guy, so I understand why fans think the way they do. And I'm not criticizing you guys. That's fine. Do you? But from our perspective here, knowing these guys and having built relationships with them and wanting good things for them and liking them as people, I'm not going to sit here and ask for people to lose their jobs. I can't do it. I just can't do it as a human being. I understand the other part of it, and it's a results business. And, you know, we weren't sitting here, you know, going, you know, when they decided to make a move on Dable, we understood it because it's a results business.
Yeah.
It's a win-loss deal. I wasn't happy about it. I wish he was still here because Dave's is a good dude. I love spending time with him, but I get it. But again, it was just something that struck me today. I was in the cafeteria looking around knowing that, you know, baggy days in 6 days. Yeah. And for fans that don't know, it's when literally they give out huge garbage bags to all the players in the locker room the Monday after the last game, and guys pack up their lockers.
And they're gone.
And a lot of them have no idea if they're ever going to be sitting on those stools again in front of those lockers.
And ever play in the league again.
Correct.
That I'm telling you, man, like that's the rough part, man. And that happens whether you win or lose throughout the season, whether you win a Super Bowl or not. No one truly knows, you know, what's going to happen the following year. But especially in the case where you're, you know, at the bottom tier of the league in terms of draft picks, you know, the Giants, you know, being the first team out of the playoff race, it's exponentially more for a team like this, especially when you lose your head coach. So, you know, everybody in this building is a pro, you know, and I'm glad that the one guy that I was kind of thinking is he learning how to be a pro quite yet? Abdul Carter, I think, has showed that he can learn. He loves football, and he's improving on his play. And I'm telling you, it just doesn't happen, Schmeelk, on teams that are trending downward. You know, it just doesn't happen. I haven't seen it, and I'm glad that the Giants are taking a step forward in that direction. And that puts, look, this game might be meaningless, you know, in terms of playoff and postseason stuff, but this is still a division game, and it's still the Dallas Cowboys.
You always want to beat the Dallas Cowboys.
Absolutely.
And the Cowboys always want to beat the Giants, as they've done a lot over the last 6 or 7 years. So you want to go out there, you want to try to win the football game, as frustrating as that might be for draft position. But it's going to be a tough game. It sounds like the Cowboys are playing everybody. And if Dak Prescott's out there with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, this ain't going to be easy.
Oh, this team's phenomenal offensively.
Like we talked about it, like, all right, well, the last opponents, you can't go nuts about the defense. And I said this to Paul on yesterday's show. This is the test now. Like, if this defense shows up and does really well against Dallas this week, all right, now we can have a conversation.
Stats from Dallas last week. 87 total plays ran against the Commanders, right? 480 total yards, 211 on the ground.
I think they scored on their first 5 possessions of the game.
This is a phenomenal offense.
Good line, good young line, by the way. They run the ball, dynamic wide receivers, good tight end. Dak Prescott's excellent this year.
Excellent.
He said a great year. So, yeah.
The Giants going to have their hands full defensively, you know, but on the other side of it, their defense is just as bad as how good their offense is.
Bingo.
They're giving up 30 points a game on defense.
Can the defense stay afloat, and can the offense look like what the offense needs to look like against a bad pass defense?
Yeah, and it might be another week 2 shootout. We saw that down in Dallas.
Yeah, or a game like against the Commanders a few weeks ago, right? When it was like 29-21, whatever that game was. So
I mean, the Dallas game was what, was it 40 to 30?
41-38?
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Hopefully we don't get that because that defensively wouldn't be good. But I think going into this game,
Double check that.
you know, Dak was sacked 6 times against the Commanders. If you can frustrate Dak, get him on the ground, possibly get the ball away from him.
40-37, I was close. Sorry.
Right. Get the ball off of him. And look, Bobby Okereke 2 years ago, I think he created like 6 or 7, maybe even 8 turnovers he was responsible for. Forced fumbles, interceptions, tip passes. I want to say he's back to that, but finally he had an interception. Dane Belton, he's a guy that's been known to be in the ball hawk. If they can take what they did from this game and transfer it over and get the ball away from Dallas, seal the possession, because this offense is humming, man. Like, and this is the thing too. Dallas has a secret weapon that no one speaks about. Brandon Aubrey is a secret weapon in the NFL.
He's actually missed a couple kicks the last couple weeks, but yes, he is a monster.
I mean, when you get the ball at the 25, 30, 35-yard line to start the drive and you only got to go 10 to 15 yards.
If you get a touchback, start the 35, you have to go 15 yards to be in field goal range.
And that is, I'm telling you, that's a secret weapon.
It's insane.
It's a secret weapon. Like, Philly has a tush push. That helps them on first and second down to prepare what they could do on third and fourth down. Same thing with them. When you're looking at a drive,
right?
And you let's say you get 20 yards on the drive. Usually you're punting the ball. That is field goal range for Brandon Aubrey. So that's the tough part about playing Dallas's offense.
And the crazy part, he's not even kicking. He's not even going full effort to make it from like 65 yards.
I mean, 55-yarders fly through the top of the goalpost.
You're right.
This guy has a phenomenal leg,
No,
but
crazy.
they have a secret weapon.
Yep.
I think Dak is playing the best football he's played in his career. We've seen it throughout his career at times. I think he's on that level. 2 top-tier wide receivers on the outside and the willingness to run the football for Dallas. That's why their offense is so good.
Schottenheimer's done a nice job there this year.
Yeah.
He's
Their
done a nice job.
offense is legit, man. You know, they're putting up over 400 yards a game. Dak is efficient. Even when he's getting sacked, he's still not, making a lot of mistakes, So the Giants have to fluster him, figure out a way to get the ball off of him some type of way, whether it's an interception, forced fumble, sack fumble, whatever it is. I think that's going to be the key to the victory against Dallas.
All right, let's get to it. Let's start with Tyler in Long Beach on line 2 here, Johnny Mac. We'll start with him first. Tyler, what's going on?
Hey, Jonathan, how you guys doing?
We're doing great, Tyler. How are you?
I feel like a jerk now talking about this because you guys are talking about people leaving their, losing their jobs and their families.
Tyler. Like I said, you guys are fans, and you're gonna have passionate opinions. We
know
welcome
these
all
guys,
callers.
though,
We get it. We get it. It's okay. Go
Right.
ahead. What's your point? You're fine.
So 2 reports came out yesterday, or within the last couple of days. Rappaport said that Joe Sheen's safe, and then Daniel Jeremiah talked about how highly coveted this job's going to be. And what worries me about what makes this job might be unattractive is Joe Shane's going to be on the hottest of seats next year. So any qualified coach or coach looking for a team that they could possibly win with, young quarterback, that might be a deterrent into coming here. You might take the Cam Ward Titans job or something like that. And then the other thing I want to talk about is I would really love to see Brian Flores come here as a coach next year. I feel like he's been auditioning these last couple weeks and really pushing it to the Giants when they played them 2 weeks ago. But I'm worried that the lawsuit is probably what's going to prevent that from happening. But I do think he would be a really good candidate for a head coach here. Him with a good offensive coordinator could turn this around for the Giants.
A couple things. One, the Rappaport report you're talking about is interesting because they didn't actually say it. It was just on the lower third. If you actually heard him say it, please let me know where to find that because I'd love to hear it. But from what I understand and from what my 30 minutes of research on this the last couple of days have shown me is that it was just on the lower third of the graphic. So I don't know exactly what happened there. But look, we'll see what happens after the year in regards to that. Look, it has worked where GMs have a chance to pick a second coach and then it clicks with the second coach. We have seen that before, and it's happened around the league this year. If you look at, some of these places where, you've hired a second coach and it's ended up working out. So I understand where you're coming from on that. I do. And your point about the hot seat, I totally get that too. But I do think there are only 32 of these head coaching jobs. And I think if you can go to a spot where and I'm assuming the coach would believe in the quarterback, you have a quarterback you believe in, that's a young player you think is going to be good. Knowing how coveted these one of 32 positions are in the National Football League, I don't think you're going to see a coach pass on one of those spots, especially for a flagship franchise if that opportunity is made available to him, or at least that's my opinion.
Yeah, and if he does his job very well, everybody's good. Everybody's job is safe and intact if he does his job well. That's the thing, man. Look, Joe Schoen took this job as a first-time GM, if I'm not mistaken, right? He was assistant up in Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So this is his first go-around as a general manager, and just like a rookie, he has his learning experiences, right? He has his learning things that he had to learn, and now he has 4 years underneath his belt. He understands his locker room. He understands this building. People respect him here. So, look, if he stays, I don't think – it's like, oh, my gosh, he's staying. And I don't think that's going to be the case. If you look at what people are getting when you come to the New York Giants, like you said, Schmeelk, you got a young, talented quarterback. You got a left tackle. You have a Dex. You have a young Abdul Carter. You have a top-tier pass rusher who's probably the best in the game, and Brian Burns. You have a lot of young receivers, Scatterboo. Like, you have a lot of things to take and, have success with. You just got to have the right job. It's going to be the right person for the job. And that's the thing that the Giants haven't done well.
In fact,
they haven't found the right guy in 10 years.
Tyler, I'm going to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question real quick, and I want JC to answer too, and then you can make your final point. Do you think, Tyler, this job is more attractive to an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator based on the talent currently on the roster?
I don't know. I would say it's probably 50-50 because offensively you look with Dart and you got a couple pieces around. But I think the defense has some good pieces. And then our draft position this year, I would like to see them add more defensive players this year. But, sorry, I just want to make one final point.
Yeah, please, go ahead. You got it. Yeah, sure.
Up. So let's say I appreciate your guys' positivity. Unfortunately, the last 10 years have made me a very negative Giants fan.
And that's, Tyler, once again, completely understandable. I'm not going to argue on that point at all.
Right. Next year, the expectation is to win. No ifs, ands, or buts. The expectation is to win. If Joe Schoen stays, the expectation is to win. Not only our record, but we're like 5-17 in the NFC East in the last.
Tyler, that was the expectation this year, by the way, to win. That was the expectation. Right. Like, if you listen to our shows in August, that was the expectation this year.
Right. So what worries me is, if this starts ugly, it's just going to get ugly because now you got a first-year head coach. And 4 or 5 year GM who's on the hottest of seats. So what do we do now? Where do we pivot? Do we, let's say Joe Schoen leaves, and then now we got a first year head coach with, no GM. It just gets ugly from there, and that's my concern. You want to keep Schoen, that's fine, but everything has to go well.
Oh no, Tyler, look, the scenario you're painting is possible. Look, it is. Like the way you painted it, could that be something we're looking at if the season doesn't start well next year? Yeah, I'm not going to argue that. And I think that's
Eagles week 1 and 2, and if it starts that, it's 2 divisional. Listen, all I want is a winning team again, and I do think they do have pieces. The high position in the draft, I really haven't looked too much into the draft this year. I love the draft. They're saying that the draft isn't as good, but I don't take too much stock in that. Mm-hmm. They're going to have another high pick this year. I think we need run blockers, run stuffers, and linebackers. Just go from there, and hopefully they can turn this around.
All right, Tyler. Appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you very much. And look, that's the argument. And I think if that's the argument you're making to make that move, I understand it. Because, look, you know what this town's like. Mm-hmm. The minute things start going bad, people are looking for someone to point a finger at.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that's the way ownership views it, right? I think they view it more holistically as, all right, what's the best path moving forward? And I think that's the way they'll look at it. Whatever decision they make. We'll see shortly after the season's over, and we'll go from there. I understand where fans are coming from that. I totally get it. His argument makes sense. I'm not going to even say it doesn't make sense. It does. So we'll see what they decide to do.
And to answer the question as well, of course I'm biased, but I think defensively, when you think about, the Giants and how great the Giants have been over the century, right? It's been a defensive-led franchise.
Yeah.
Right? The guys in the Ring of Honor, you got some offensive guys. They're mostly defensive guys. So for me, if you get a defensive-minded coach, bring in a good offensive coordinator, maybe a quarterback coach that can work with Jackson Dart on a consistent basis, kind of what Brian Daboll was doing for Jackson Dart, doing something like that. Like, I'm not saying like hold his hand, but kind of, like something like that where you can come in and really work with him because he still has a lot to grow. He still has a lot to gain and learn. And defensively, you need a guy to come in here and get the most out of these guys because they have some talent, beasts. Like when I talk about talent, I'm talking about like best players at their position talent.
Can I answer my own question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's more attractive to a defensive coach.
Okay, yeah, I said the same thing, yeah.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Carter, Burns, Dexter Lawrence.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Come on.
Bobby, Micah coming back, yeah.
Yeah, and look, I mean, Kayvon.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get, Debo and Holland play better next year. Look, I think you can take
Holland, real quick, before you finish,
Yes.
because I'm going to forget. What happened?
It doesn't sound like it's anything super serious based on what Kafka said yesterday. He had not talked to the doctors yet. So I don't think it's anything that's like long-term.
Probably done for the season.
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
But they didn't really have a report on that.
Gotcha, my fault. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. I think just based on what we saw and what we've heard, I think that's probably what it's going to be. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Again, it's hopefully, sometimes you think it's okay, then you go in for the test, and the test shows you something you don't expect, too. So we'll have to see what Mike Kafka says about it tomorrow. Let's go to Jeff in Maine. He's up next. Hey, Jeff, what's going on?
Oh, hey, guys. First, I just have a quick comment about Joe Shane. I disagree with all the people saying he should be fired. I like him. When he drafted Evan Neal, it was universally acclaimed as a great pick. His draft last year got A-pluses by everybody. And even signing a Debo and Holland, if he hadn't done it, everyone would be criticizing him. When you draft somebody, it's a crapshoot, and to criticize them for fifth-round picks even that don't make it, that's kind of ridiculous.
And, Jeff, here's the thing. And, look, I think – when you look back at a lot of the decisions that were made at the time they were made, they made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we weren't sitting here like, well, what the heck are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
And look, you can go back to when they drafted Saquon in the top 5. Like, there was a legitimate argument. You don't pick a running back that high. Like there was a legitimate argument for that. But when you go back and you think about where they picked these players and when they picked them, there were really good arguments. And to your point, Jeff, a lot of the people that do this for a living and analyze this stuff, they were all pretty praiseworthy, and people were pretty positive about him. So not every move's going to work out. Some things are beyond your control. Some things are a player developmental issue. And look, sometimes you just mess up, and the guys don't work out. Like, Evan Neal's not worked out. They messed up. At the time, he was a slam dunk top 5 pick.
Yeah.
Like, everyone thought he was, and it didn't work out. Deontay Banks hasn't worked out.
Yeah.
Now, everyone at that time,
it was a great draft pick.
You look back, maybe Joey Porter Jr. was the better place to go when you go back and you look at it now. But they were kind of neck and neck at that point. No, you can't. No, but look, but if you look at that draft, those guys were pretty close together in terms of rankings, in terms of corner. So look, maybe they should have picked a different guy. Who knows? I don't know the answer to that. And who knows? Maybe if Porter's here, he doesn't develop the way he did in Pittsburgh. The incubation process matters with these young players too.
For sure.
So that's the other side of the argument, right? Where you look at the decisions he's made at the time they made sense. Have they all worked out? Certainly not. As Joe said in his press conference when he did it during the bye week. Have there been mistakes? Absolutely. Now the question is that who's the best person moving forward to get that stuff fixed?
Right. But anyway, my actual question's about defense. And the thing that aggravates me the most is not even just not stopping the run, but it's letting these third and long conversions. And this has been going on for years and years and years. How do we fix that?
And Jeff, by the way, also second and long.
That makes me sick.
I mean, how many
too.
second and 18s have they given up?
I mean,
this
it was
year?
like a 2nd and 26 against Chicago.
Wasn't it a running play?
It was a run play.
Right?
I was sick. I was so sick watching that. That
Thank you for
makes
the call,
me
Jeff. Appreciate
upset.
it.
Like, I watch the games and I'm like, oh man, this bull, right? And I'm doing my this is crazy. When I see that, I'm visibly, if I'm in the pub, I might yell like, what are we doing? Like, it kills me.
I love watching the former players that I work with because I know what bothers each of them the most.
At
this point, I know what bothers you. I definitely know what bothers Carl Banks. I know Carl like a book, and I'm learning now what bothers Tiki the most as I work with him more.
Yeah.
And O'Hara. Like, I know all and different things bother
you
different guys.
You got a chance to work with some good guys, man.
Awesome guys.
Yeah,
I'm very
man.
blessed. Trust me. I know how lucky I am.
I listen to you and Tiki. I like Tiki.
Tiki does a nice job.
Yeah,
He's
Tiki's
good.
great, man. People was like, oh, because, I was doing that.
We miss you, though. You
I
know
was
that.
doing that first, and then they're like, oh, Tiki? I was like, Tiki's great. He's been doing it for like 20 years. He's really good at it, and I listen to him. I like him. I like him a lot. So tips I had off to him. But yeah, that like the third and longs, the second and longs, because you know why it's you don't get a lot of opportunities to like wreak havoc during a game. Second and long, third and long, where it's like, all right, defense, let's go. Let's bring it on. Let's get interesting. Let's get complicated. Let's get sexy.
Exotic.
You know what I mean? Like, and they don't capitalize on those opportunities, man. And that's what kind of get me the most, man. Like I'm like visibly upset when that stuff happens.
You even had to play a couple weeks ago. I think it was against the Vikings. Like it was 3rd and 15.
I mean, the first two third and longs.
And they give up 13.5 yards to set up the 4th and 1.
Might have been the first 3 third and longs.
Dude, there was how about the 3rd and 17 when they throw the out route to Jefferson for the first down? Like, you can't have that sort of stuff. That is how you lose football games.
And that's how you have a losing season.
Correct.
Dude,
3rd and 17 against Max Brosmer.
That's a win for the defense.
If you don't get a takeaway or a sack, you should be mad.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
You can't give that up.
Because even against a top tier, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, who else is playing? Drake May, a top tier third and long, it's still not in their advantage.
No,
it's not. It's on the defense for them. The likeliness of them winning is very low. But for some reason, the Giants are horrible in those situations, and that's what you want to be in on defense. You're like drooling when you get third and long. Like, this is it, guys. We're gonna do something's gonna happen on the defense, right. And it's just time in and time again. But then when you look at the Giants, their whole body of work, that's why you are where you are at. Fighting for the number 1 draft pick against the Raiders, who are purposely trying to lose the game. Right. Like, that's how you end up there, man. You don't capitalize on situations, getting into the red zone, getting on for short yardage, low red, and not capitalizing, missing field goals. When you look at all of the things that the Giants had opportunities to capitalize on, they just failed to do it time in and time again. That's why watching the game the other day was so like, it was a breath of fresh air, but it was kind of like, why are we doing this at week 17? Why are we doing this the 16th game of the year?
Let me ask you this question, because this has been thrown out there. Now, we've had actually a couple pretty pivotal recovered onside kicks this year by the kicking team. As someone who's our resident expert on recovering big onside kicks for kicking teams. What do you think about the potential rule change? And the only reason is you brought up 4th and 15. That's the reason why I thought of it. That instead of doing an onside kick, the offense has to convert a 4th and 15 instead of an onside kick in order to keep the ball.
I didn't know that.
The Eagles have proposed that a couple different years.
I don't like it because the Eagles proposed it. I hate it.
All right. My understanding is that the Saints, Bucks, and Patriots also proposed that role. What do you think about it?
I don't know, man. That adds, I mean, the 4th and 15, I guess because of the percentages say like it's so unlikely for them to convert on 4th and 15. But if they're going against the Giants, that's like, what, a 50-50?
Well, as a defensive player, what do you think about that? Making that and replacing the onside kick, since that's become such a low percentage play.
I don't know. I feel like
it would be exciting.
It would be exciting, and I just feel like they're always trying to give the offense something extra. They're always trying to give the offense
at this point, an
extra play.
This is giving the defense a chance in an advantageous position to end the game.
Yeah, I get you. 4th and 15, that's rough. I mean, you seeing 4th and 15, the game's over.
Would you feel more comfortable 4th and 20?
I mean, either one, it's all like advantageous for the defense,
The only thing I worry about in that situation are the stupid like illegal contact penalties and like defensive holding.
That will give you an automatic first down?
Correct. That's my hesitation on those plays, why I would hesitate putting that in.
Yeah.
But it's something that's out there. I was curious as a defensive player and a former special teamer, what you would think about that potential rule change.
Like I said, this is the league. The NFL is doing this. The NFL is making the offense a little bit more protected, a little bit easier for them to get yardage and stuff like that. And they want to protect players. I was going to do this. Like, they want to protect players, and some of the rules are to protect players, but most of the rules are to make the football exciting. That's what they're really trying to do. And they have a play which is what, 5%, 3% recovery rate for an onside kick? Probably lower than that, 2%. I don't know.
I think it's about 5.
Yeah, which is very low.
Which is very low.
And the thing is, the NFL, they don't want to play that is not going to work. And everybody runs it. That is the go-to thing when you're down 2 scores and you score and you're trying to come back. You're going to kick an onside kick. And the percentage of being 3, 4, 5%, I don't think that's okay with the NFL.
Yeah, I get
it. They want more excitement, and they want something that could possibly happen. Oh, you go to Sumer Sports, huh?
Well, they have like this little tool where you can ask questions and they'll get.
I worked with Sumer this year. They did my combine from my camp.
Sumer's awesome.
Yeah, they did a great job. They sent out a 40-yard, the laser, the 40-yard dash, the broad jump, the vertical jump. They did it for my camp this year. Yeah, they provided all of that. Profiles for all my athletes. Yeah, it was really good. Sumer did a great job.
I'm gonna put in. See what my answer is.
You're so resourceful, John.
I'm trying.
You're so resourceful. Every time I'm looking, I see a different tab open I've never seen before.
I'm doing what I can. All right, let's go to our next caller. I believe Phil in North Carolina has been holding the laws. Let's go to line 3, Johnny Mac. Phil, what's going on?
Yeah, hi guys. Thanks for the show. Excellent as usual.
Thanks, Phil.
So a lot of good points today. I really liked it. Before I get into my main point, Jonathan came up with he answered the question about what kind of coach do you need, like motivational versus X and O guy. And I would say that, and he said 50-50, and I can see that, but I think Jonathan is a very cerebral, self-motivating guy. So I think you have to look at the majority of your players and then assess what you think will best motivate them, rather than, someone like Jonathan's going to be, in a different mindset than a lot of other people, I think.
Hey, I appreciate that too, but I go to say, I use this analogy to a lot of people, Schmeelk, because I was trying to figure out what was going on with the Giants this year. And I think what we saw from the play of, 16 games already, I think there were players that weren't happy with management, whether that's coach, position coach, defensive coordinator, head coach. And I think that was some of what we're seeing. And I asked people, I said, hey, if you didn't like your boss for your job, are you going to give your effort every single day? And that's something that I feel like was happening.
No, if you're sitting there, no, screw that guy. I'm not going to go the extra yard for this guy.
You're going to go to work, though.
Of course.
You're going to be a pro, so you can get paid and feed your family and do that, but you're not going to go above and beyond.
Yeah, I get
and
that.
I think that's what we saw this year. I think that the guys weren't happy with Dayball.
You think so? I never saw
think that's
that.
what happened.
All right.
Yeah, I think because I'm trying to assess this for the last few years.
I get it.
We've talked and we covered the 2022 season together, and we saw that. And I just think that it's changed since then, and I think they didn't embrace him as they used to embrace him. And I think that's why he got cut, got the axe in the middle of the season.
Well, I want to ask you a follow-up question then, and then Phil, hang with us. I'll let you finish your call. What do you think the most important thing is that a head coach does and brings to a team that's most important for a team's success?
Leadership. I think that's number one.
Define that. What do you mean?
The ability, first of all, when you look at an NFL locker room, when you go in there and you look at the guys in there, first of all, they're huge human beings. That's number one, right? Number two, they're all rich. They're all super paid. Egos out of the roof. Alpha men. All of them are, right? You have to have a guy to come in that understands that when you go in there, you're an alpha of alphas, So leadership is, if I say something, I stand on it. I mean it. I don't get deterred. I mean what I say, and when you look at me, I'm the same way tomorrow as I was today.
And it applies to everybody the same way.
And it applies to everyone. And they treat everybody accordingly. And they hold the guys at the top of the team accountable. You don't even have to hold the lower end guys. No offense to anybody on the lower end. I was a lower end guy, undrafted. You don't even got to do it to them because you see the older guys do it. Like I saw Sean Payton curse Reggie Bush out right in front of me, and I was like, Like, it scared me shook. Like, I was like, I never want to be on his bad side. You know
Bill
what I mean?
Parcells always did it that way too. Like, he would not be afraid to go after the best players on the team.
But I think that, and I was in New England, and that's what Bill did.
Right.
Bill talked to Tom just how he talked to everybody else. You know, and I think that's what you got to have here. When you come to the Giants, you got to understand who the leaders are, hold them accountable, and have those guys hold the other guys accountable. Because they're like, look, man, I don't want to disappoint this guy, and they play for you. I think that's leadership. You know, when you can get other leaders, other alphas, other men to buy into what you're saying for a consistent period of time. Because, look, I equate 2022 like 2016.
100%. 100%.
First year coach, right, had some success, and then it kind of got away from the coach. It kind of got away from, and then it was questions about discipline when you talk about 2022 and 2016. And I even said this to Kafka. I think Eli Apple got away with certain things his rookie year that should have been nipped in the butt, and it would have helped him in his career.
Of course it would have.
It would definitely help them with the Giants. It would have helped us as a team.
Some guys don't want to be coached hard, but they need to be coached hard.
I needed to get coached hard, and I wanted it. Like, I embraced it. And just like he said, I was more like Burns. Like, it don't matter if I like the coach or not. I'm going to go out there and play my hardest. You know, I'm undrafted. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, you're a self-motivated individual, and I'm the same way. That's also how I operate. Where,
so,
you know, because remember, you're doing this for yourself.
You're
representing yourself on the field.
Everybody's not us.
I know that.
Right?
I know.
Everybody's not self-motivated.
I know.
And even I talked to Bobby. Last year going to New Orleans, Super Bowl. We was on the same flight, and we spoke for about 20, 30 minutes after the flight at baggage claim. We were just sitting down there and talking. And he was talking about the difference between Shane Bowen and Wink. And he said Shane is not as a motivator as Wink was. So you know what I told him? I said, so that's on you, bro. If it ain't on the coach, if the coach is not going to do it, then it's on the middle linebacker or the leader of the defense to do it.
The captain, right? Yeah.
You know, so I feel like, you know, the Giants need a guy to be more of a motivator as a defensive coordinator, head coach, offensive coordinator. You know, times are different, teams are different, everybody's different. But I agree with he said, everybody's not self-motivated. And you got to have somebody in there that can get guys fired up. You can get guys playing. And that's what I've been hearing some of these guys talk about Bullen and what he's doing. Post interviews that they've been saying, I love his energy. He gets the guys going. You know, that's what they've been speaking about.
It's also, I think,
no X's and O's though. No X's and O's.
You get that though at the start. I think whenever you have a change, you're going to get that. The question is that
can you sustain
it over a long period of time, right?
That's it. Because that's again, 2022 was a great year. Could you sustain that year? Not that year, but could you sustain that play, that thought, that culture that you established in year one? Same thing in 2016. We were the number 2 defense in the league. We were feared. Dallas went 14-2. They lost two to us. You know, so for me, and then it fell apart in 2017, and people asked me, what happened in 17? I don't know what happened. I was there. I don't know. You know, but I think a lot of guys, when you ask this team, like, what happened, you know, the last couple of years? What happened this year? What happened last year?
If they knew, they would have fixed it.
They don't know. So for me, I'm trying to make sense of it too, because I've been involved in it, and I'm trying to be on the outside from an insider, because I was inside. But now I'm an outsider trying to just take and consider all things. And I think it was that. I think they just fell out of whatever they had for Daboll. I think they fell out of that at some point.
That's fair.
And I think that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a team that just kind of fell out of, I don't even know what the right word to use, love, fell out of, you know what I mean? Like, commitment, I don't know what the right word is to use, but it wasn't the same as it was in 2022. The team looked different.
Look, and the other thing, too, look, they won in 2022. It's easy to ride a positive wave.
Yeah, it is.
Once things start going bad.
They won early, too. 6-1 to start,
correct.
if I'm not mistaken.
Once things, and then look, and Brian Daboll said this himself, and John Mara said it after that first year, too. Look, you can go from Bono to Bozo in this town pretty quick.
Oh, and it happened.
Right? And, you know, you go into that second year, and this happened to McAdoo too, right? 2016, dude, you guys never faced a ton of adversity.
Yeah.
It went well the whole year. What happens? It's the old Mike Tyson quote. What happens when you get punched in the face?
Yep.
How do you react to that?
Yep.
Can you pull yourself out of things when they go bad? You know, that's the test. It's easy to feel good about yourself when things are going well. When things start going bad, then what?
But that's the guy they have to bring in.
Correct. Yes.
When
Because that's
things
Tom
go
Coughlin.
bad,
That's Tom Coughlin.
when things go bad, are you still going to stand on the stuff that you've been standing on?
Correct.
Or are you still going to be the same way? Are you going to, clinch up? Are you going to get tight? Or are you going to be the same person you were? Maybe you dotting your I's and crossing your T's a little bit more because you need to be a little bit more detailed. But I feel like the guys in this locker room, that's the thing about these men, right? These are all professionals, right? And when you get into the league, you're just learning, so you don't really know how it is to be a pro. But 90% of the roster are veterans, maybe 80%. 80% of the roster are veteran guys that are playing. They understand how to be pros. They understand what winning looks like. And they don't like BS, and they see through the BS.
All right, Phil, finish up your call, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. That was really good. So my point is that the other day, I think a call called into the show, and Paul was evaluating the decision to keep Gano going this year and defended, I guess, the action at the time. And I really strongly oppose that viewpoint because the information we had at the time was Gano has been hurt the 2 previous years. And so based on that, you don't give – it's not 3 strikes. To me, it's 2 strikes. It happens once, okay. It happens the next year twice, then you got to – at that point, after the season, we should have been geared up for another kicker because I'm tired of us losing, 5 games in the last 3 years because of – basically our kicking decision. So
thank you, Phil.
But hopefully we're going to improve on that in the future. And so anyway, I appreciate you guys. Happy New Year.
You too, Phil. Appreciate it. I'll just say this about Gano. I get where you're coming from, and I get the argument. I'm not even saying it's wrong. But knowing how consistent he is when he's healthy and going away from that can be scary. We've seen NFL teams, JC, whether the kicker gets hurt or doesn't play well and they have to go to another guy, and all of a sudden it's another guy, and it's another guy, then it's another guy. Once you and Thomas McGahee said this one here. Once you get on that kicking carousel, that thing can keep going round and round and round and round, and it's hard to find a good consistent kicker. So I understand being risk averse in that situation, though maybe you're being more risk acceptance, given the age and the injury and the things that Graham had to deal with. Phil, I get where you're coming from. I'm not saying you're wrong. But I do understand that the unknown is scary when you talk about the kicker position.
Yeah.
And you never know if that guy, if you're going to draft somebody or bring somebody in for agency, if they're going to be able to handle it, especially in a outdoor stadium like this where it gets windy. It's a whole other animal than kicking indoors.
For sure. I think the Giants could have probably hedged their bet a little bit better.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think so.
Okay.
Having Gano on the roster, maybe he should not have been the only kicker. Maybe you have a guy that you trust waiting. You know what I mean?
The problem is that once you hit the regular season, though, when he's healthy, you can't really have two kickers on the roster.
I mean, practice squad, I don't know how that works with the kicker
practice squad you
situation.
can. You can have a kicker on the practice
I just
squad.
think because...
Which they did, though. They had Jude McIntyre on there, but the problem is that Gano got hurt during warm-ups after the inactives got announced.
Right.
So,
right.
look,
Yeah.
It's a tough spot, but, Phil, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Jeff from Rhode Island, he's up next. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, guys, it's too late for Merry Christmas, so I'll just have to...
Never too late for
No,
Merry Christmas.
it's never too late for
I
Merry
still got my
Christmas,
tree
Jeff.
up.
Merry Christmas, Jeff.
Everybody behind the scenes there as well.
Thank you.
I did have some expectations for the defense this year, but hopefully next year will get better.
No, Jeff, look, we all did. I was asked, I went on with Mark Malusis before the pregame show on Sunday on FAN, and he asked me, John, if you give a reason why the season fell apart this year, why was it? My answer was simple. It was the defense. Yeah. We expected the defense to carry the team this year. But instead, they were the reason they lost games.
Yeah, a lot of games.
Yeah. That's the way, exactly the way I felt, too. I don't know. I don't know what went wrong. I wasn't in a room coaching these guys up, so.
You got something, George, Jeff?
Yeah, that's it, guys.
No, I appreciate it, man. Happy New Year, my friend. Always a pleasure.
Days are ahead.
Oh, God willing. I love to hear from Jeff. Jeff's one of our. Jeff's been calling us for more than 10 years. He's a good man.
That's what's up.
Let's wrap things up with Jason in New Haven. Jason, what's up, pal?
Hey, John and Jonathan, how you guys doing, man?
We're good, man.
What's going on?
Good. I just want to say Happy New Year, and I wish you two, professionally and personally, all the success for 2020.
Thank you. And by the way, folks, just
Everybody.
FYI for shows this week, we are going to be live tomorrow. We're going to be live Friday. We do not have a show on Thursday. So that's our Big Blue Kickoff Live schedule this week with the holiday. Go ahead, Jason.
It's good. What's good? Yeah, so just, wishing everybody the best, especially, our team. So I'll make it quick because I know you guys got to get out. But just one quick point. The Joe Shane thing, I don't think he deserves to be fired. That's just my personal opinion. I feel his last 2 drafts have been good. Our cap space for the next few years seems to be pretty healthy from what I see online. And anytime you draft I'm not saying he is now, anytime you potentially draft a franchise QB, it's going to give you a little rope. So I think he's here to stay. We'll see what happens next year with the head coaching and all that kind of thing in the roster. But I think he's done enough to hold on to his position, in my opinion.
Okay.
I personally want to speak about the positives from Sunday. I'm so happy what I saw from Deonte Banks, man. That return that he had, for some reason, I just got up out my chair and I just started yelling and jumping. I don't know what it was.
It's a kickoff return for a touchdown. That's what it was, Jason. Who doesn't get excited over a kickoff return for a touchdown?
Well, yeah. Outside of that, I'm happy it was him.
Yeah.
Because he's had a tumultuous time. His rookie year, I thought he had a good year. The last 2 years, and I'm not saying this, he has nothing to do with it. Part of it is his fault, of course. But, man, I was just so happy. And the way the team celebrated him and catching that penalty, I didn't even care.
Yeah.
Man, I just hope this carries over.
Saul's nailed the kick, too.
I didn't even think he had a bad cornerback play on. I know he gave it the touchdown to block it, but I think overall he played a pretty decent game.
He was okay. He was all right.
A few more points. I'll get off the air. A few more positives. Abdul, what can we say? Man, once he hits that corner, now I'm with you, John. He has to add a power quotient to his game. It'll make him even more formidable. But, man, once he hits that corner, there's not a lot of tackles that could there's not a lot of tackles that can combat that. Darius Alexander, another sack. He's starting to come along. Yeah, just a lot of positives, and in the O-line, and I was just very happy for Deonte. So I'll take it off the air, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. It was a nice kickoff return. He's really found a niche there with that.
Showed his speed too.
No, he's fast.
He's 4.3
I mean,
guy,
dude,
right?
there was never any. I think 4.41, I think, something like that. But yeah, he's fast.
Good for him. And look, that may be his calling card in the NFL. I mean, I've played against some scary returners in my life. That might be good, good for him. And, hopefully he can understand, his shortcomings at cornerback and continue to improve there as well, because, we don't want to, I guess, move on from him, from the whole cornerback position altogether, if he stays here in New York, and it just sucks, man, because you never know who's coming back.
Really nice block, Chauncey Golson on that play. And by the way, I will give credit to Demetrius Flanagan Fowles here. He could have easily committed an illegal block in the back penalty, and he thought about it, and he's like, I'm going to let him go.
Yeah. That'd have been rough.
You know how it's,
for sure.
We've all seen it a million times.
For sure. They usually would call, that would be a hold right there.
Oh, you know what? That could have been a hold. When he tries to separate off the block, and then he kind of does a little tug.
And even the special teams for the Giants, they had the one play on the sideline where he just mauled the gunner going down the field, and it was the whole fight on the sideline.
With the ref running to try to break it up. Did
you see? Because I was watching it. Of course, I'm watching it at home. And then I see the ref sprinting across, and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? But nobody else was reacting.
No, nobody else. There's nobody saw it. It was behind the bench.
Yeah, but but that, again, the physical approach. This is a violent sport.
It is.
You got to play violent. Like, you have to play like that, and blocks need to be violent. Tackles need to be violent, right? And hopefully the Giants, they're learning how to win, and not just with the coaching staff. The players need to learn how to win. Right? Dexter Lawrence has been here for a long time. He's had one winning season. One. Slayton, the same thing. Andrew Thomas, the same thing. These guys need to learn how to win. And do it consistently. And this was just another taste of that. And it was a good victory for them.
JC, this was a fun show, brother.
Absolutely.
It's good seeing you, man.
Yeah, Happy New Year, bro.
Happy New Year to you as well. You have big New Year's plans?
Well,
you're old now. You're on like on a partying or anything, are you? You're partying?
I'm not partying. My girlfriend's a violinist and she's performing tomorrow night.
Oh, where's she performing?
New Year's, somewhere in Jersey. I forgot the name. Don't kill me, but somewhere in New Jersey for some event. I don't know.
All right.
Hope she doesn't watch this.
Is it like black tie?
I'm gonna wear a tux. Yeah, I'm gonna dress nice.
Fancy,
I mean, because
JC. Do you own a tuxedo?
yeah, of course. She is like
I don't own a tuxedo. I'm just not high class like JC.
I gotta match her style and her gown.
Well, she has to be in the gown, right?
Yeah, she's
for sure. I get
like
that.
luxurious, just like. She's the crowd, and I'm just right there, like kind of like her assistant. You know what I mean? I do my part, though. I do my part. I'm like security assistant.
I was gonna
manager.
say they're gonna think you're security, bro.
Yeah. I'm there, and I'm making sure everything goes by. But she's a true pro. Watching her do what she does is how I used to play like football. Like she's preparing right now for tomorrow.
Does she have like a routine and all that stuff?
Yeah. She studies. She has her rider, so she gets certain things that she needs to do before, maybe a bottle of champagne for New Year's, right?
Okay.
On the rider.
Is she solo or is she part of like a
solo.
quartet?
Solo.
She's
All solo.
Ooh, okay.
She just was in Bermuda. Performing down there.
That's awesome.
This past weekend. So, and it's cool because I get to watch her be a pro. I get to watch her approach her performances like I used to approach my game days. So it's cool.
Have you tried to offer anything into a routine, like maybe some smelling salts, like right before she goes out to play or something like that?
If she smell a smelling salt, she might pass out. That's funny.
Special Olympics New Jersey's annual Snow Bowl is heading to Rutgers SHI Stadium in 2026. This annual flag football tournament will be on the field of Rutgers Stadium from March 6 to March 8, 2026. The 6-on-6 tournament will feature competitive, recreational, and co-ed divisions, and all proceeds benefit thousands of Special Olympics New Jersey athletes across the Garden State. Register your team today at njsnowbowl.org. That's njsnowbowl.org. We even talked, by the way, my girls' third grade basketball team, 2-1.
Let's go.
We lost our first game.
Let's go.
We won our last two. We went from 3 points in the first game.
How many? We double digits?
Went to 10 in the game
nice.
2. Went to 14 in game 3.
All right.
So we're pushing.
This is third grade.
Third grade.
Third grade. That's a lot of points for third grade.
7-minute quarters.
That's
7-minute
a lot of
quarters.
points for third grade.
And we have it's third and fourth. We have only 3 fourth graders on the team. So we're almost all third grade. And a lot of the other teams, like, I'll show you some pictures.
Yeah. I'll check it out.
We literally have the smallest team in the league, and it's not close.
But
like we have the smallest team in the
points,
league.
Man.
Our defense, we've given up 4 points, 4 points, and 5 points.
That's a lot of points.
Our defense is legit.
Y'all giving up 4.5 points a game.
Our defense is legit.
That's so funny.
We have a good defense.
And my daughter has been playing varsity as a freshman. She's scoring some points on varsity.
Is she scoring?
Bro. Yeah. Her first 6 points were on varsity this year. She plays JV and varsity. And they're down in Tom's River today.
She more of a jump shooter or a penetrator? What's she doing?
She goes to the basket.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
drawing fouls or finishing?
Yeah, drawing fouls too.
Good.
Yeah, she got an and one against
nice.
IHA. You know IHA?
Yeah.
They beat us by 30, but she had a tough play when we were getting smoked. She came in and drew the foul and had the and one.
Is she good going to a right and left, or is she more right dominant?
More right, but she got a left.
Good.
Yeah, she can do both. And I'm just trying to tell her, like, look, they're going to start relying on you more as a freshman, and yeah, she's
plays
doing
the one
good,
or the
man.
2?
The 2, yeah, kind of. Yeah. They have points, but she'll bring the ball up if she needs to. Yeah.
So much fun watching the kids do stuff.
It is. I mean, you're gonna see. Right now, it's rough,
dude.
Because if they call travel every play, y'all won't be able to have a basketball game.
No, it's funny. We were talking to somebody. They go, there are more travels that aren't called than made baskets.
Oh, for sure.
Not close.
It's not even close.
It's not close.
Like, you lucky if you get a quarter without having 35 travels. They're not going to be called. But, like, you get a kid that might go like this.
They start dancing in place.
Just run.
Dribbling with 2 hands, like all that sort of stuff.
It's the best, though.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
My daughter, she loves it. She actually had me out at like 11:30 on Christmas Day after we opened presents, and we were at the basket. We were shooting.
Ah, that's good. I like to hear that.
She was in a winter coat because it was freezing outside.
Oh, y'all was outside?
Dude, I don't have an indoor gym near my house.
I'm thinking like a little basketball rim that you got her in the house.
No, we went to the park across the street.
And
We
y'all
were
shot
shooting.
some good
Oh,
hoops.
absolutely.
All right. That's
We're
what's
at
up,
it.
man. I like that.
All right,
that.
sorry for going late today. Johnny Mac, apologize. You got to go eat some lunch. Thank you for being with us. Big Blue Kickoff Live presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants from the Hackensack Marine Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better. For Jonathan Casillas, I'm John Schmeelk. I will not see you until 2026. So have a happy new year, everybody. Have a safe year, and I'll talk to you next year.